Speaking of ladies, the next one we got up here, Sidney Crosby. So I find Sidney Crosby so fascinating. In this world of liberal lunacy, he is the salmon swimming upstream. Because apparently...
Explain.
So Sidney Crosby, he's the GOAT, one of the greatest of all time. He's got the cash, he's got the status, he's got the good looks. He's been in the media since he was 9 years old. For whatever reason, has never got himself in any trouble. And I know you said that...
He's very well protected.
Very well insulated. Maybe he's just smart, a little bit of luck, a little bit of... Could be a lot of things. Apparently, he's had the same girlfriend for 15 years, refuses to marry her. I love that. It's such a bad business decision as a man in 2025 to get married. I love that. Especially when you're Sidney Crosby, there's no reason to marry her.
I will quote a really great comic. He's a British comic. His name is Jimmy Carr. And he has been with his girl now for a little bit longer, I think. I think they've been together for 20 years. And he does a lot of crowd work in his set. And he plays a lot of theaters. And he has no problems with people yelling out stuff. And he's fantastic on his feet. Mm-hmm. And somebody yelled from the back of the room, "Hey, Jimmy, when you gonna make an honest woman out of that girl of yours?" Somebody to that effect, right? And he says, oh, are you commenting, sir, on the fact that his girl and him haven't been married in 20 years? He goes, "I love my girl so much that I don't want to get lawyers involved."
Agreed.
I thought that was a great response. And he also said, he goes, call me crazy. He goes, but I'm still holding out hope that I can find something better. Which again was a great line from a comedian. Now look, we don't know what the ins and outs are of Sidney Crosby and his girlfriend. Maybe she doesn't want to get married. Maybe he has gotten down on one knee. And she goes, "No, let's not ruin this. Let's wait till you're done playing hockey. And then let's talk about it. Let's wait until I'm dating the non-hockey Sidney Crosby. Maybe it's on her."
If you're an NHL player in 2025, are you getting married anytime soon? Let's just put Dave Wheeler. You are playing in the National Hockey League. You've met a girl for the last 1 to 2 years. You're not, married to your current wife, Candice Ray, who's very beautiful. Hi, Candice, by the way. What are you doing? Is that a good business decision to play in the NHL and get married during your playing days?
I remember I was in Seattle once upon a time, Monday Night Football, between the Seattle Seahawks and the New Orleans Saints. It was Drew Brees visiting Russell Wilson, and me and my buddies went down for Monday Night Football. It was the night that they set the record for loudest fans ever. I think it was 136.9 decibels, if memory serves correct. I may be a few decibels off on that. But I happen to know one of the guys on the team. It was an old friend of mine who used to play for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, John Ryan. Mm-hmm. And so I hit him up before the game and said, "Hey, me and a few buddies going to be into town. Would you want to get together after?" He's like, "Listen, I'll let security know. Why don't you guys come down just outside the locker room after? We'll say hello." I hadn't seen him in a little while. He came out of the locker room. We start, bullshitting, catching up a little bit here and there. A few of my buddies go over and they talk to Marshawn Lynch. It was very, very cool experience. And I said to him, "So man," I said, "what's the deal?" I said, "You got a girl? You settled down? What's the deal?" He goes, "No." And I said, "Really?" And he goes, I said, "Why not?" And he says, "Because I'm young and I play in the NFL." And I said, "That's a great answer." He's now married and has a wonderful girl that he met. I think he met her in Seattle. I think she might be from LA. I can't remember exactly, but they've now settled down. They have a great life together. I think they're doing fantastic. But he wasn't ready. Mm-hmm. Now, keep in mind, there's a guy by the name of James Hetfield, who is the lead singer of Metallica, mm-hmm. who, if you know the history of the band Metallica, when they were touring back in the 80s and 90s, they were notorious. I mean, just go read The Dirt, and it was a version of that. But he said once upon a time, the only reason I got married is so I stopped sleeping around as much on the road. As much. Mm-hmm. He just kind of broke it down a little bit and got a little pickier about what he was doing on the road. But it's really hard for a lot of these traveling acts when there's that much variety around. And I give guys a lot of credit when they realize that, going, "No, I'm not ready to settle down yet."
What do you think, too? Society says to men, do the right thing. They say to women, do what's right for you. And so these dudes come into the NHL, the NFL, 18, 20, 22. Obviously, you're exposed to some incredibly good-looking women, and you just wife up the first one that comes in. And then fast forward, you're only good for as useful as you are. You're done playing. All right, this isn't what I married. She takes you for half, takes you to the cleaners, and now you're starting fresh with half your shit gone or more. That just seems like a bad business move.
Well, and Varsity Blues, and I know I'm referencing a lot of old movies here, but I am a Gen Xer. there is a movie called Varsity Blues where it was said very clearly, "You're my ticket out of here." Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
From the female perspective,
Yeah,
of course,
sure,
of course. But from the man perspective, especially,
but
as,
it's not all. I don't want to paint everyone with a broad stroke. And again, that's why I'm going to throw it back to Sidney Crosby. Maybe it's her. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's her saying, no. We'll wait till you're done playing. Like we're committed. We're in a great relationship right now. Why mess it up? Let's wait.
Well, why do you need the government to be involved to show that you love somebody?
There's, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, another comedian who does a bit about marriage. He goes, imagine marriage doesn't exist, okay? And you got a guy and you got a girl and they're sitting down and he's like, hey, I really like hanging out with you. He's like, yeah, I like hanging out with you too. I'd like to do this for, forever. It's like, well, okay, what do you mean by that? Well, I brought this little cake along and it's got, a little picture of you and I at the top, and I want you to put this ring on, and I want you to tell everyone. I'm going to invite all of our friends, and I want you to tell everybody that we're going to be together forever. It's like, why are you doing this? Tax purposes.
But there's no tax benefits.
Oh, sure there is.
If you're getting married?
Yeah.
Like what?
Sure there is. When you claim your taxes together, it's a little bit. You can have dependents and whatnot, and yeah, it's not a huge. I mean, you're not walking out there going da 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 da. But there are tax advantages to being married.
Call me a Scrooge. I feel like I'd be happy to pay more taxes than have her take half.
Well, there are safety nets in place for that.
Leave a comment down below. What do you think? But on that note, speaking of marriage, something that could improve your marriage if it's on the rocks or in the shit, Sheath underwear. The second sponsor for today's show.
Or if it's good.
If it's good, it'll
Or
make it
if it's
even better.
good.
If it's great but still getting better, Sheath underwear.
Hey, more hockey content. It's might be old, it might be new, it might be a full episode, it might be a half episode, but you can click these boxes because who doesn't like clicking boxes?